Hey everybody, we're here to talk about the Aviom Personal Monitoring System that we use here at Evangel. I'm just going to give you a quick run through of the parts of the Aviom station here. Over here you have your main section. You've got a master volume, you've got a treble and a bass knob, and I usually set all of those to right around noon to start with. Again, this is the master section, so any change you make here will affect everything overall. So if you want more bass guitar, you need to come down here and find the bass channel, the bass guitar channel, and turn the volume up here. But if you want more bass overall in your whole mix, you'd adjust bass, likewise with treble and then master volume. Down on the bottom here you have this row of channels 1 through 16. And to select one of those, you just press the button to adjust the volume, which is right here in the middle. So if you want more of the click track, you'd select the click track, turn that up or down to whatever's comfortable for you in your ears. Over here you have the pan knob, which is very important and very useful for what we do here at Evangel, and I'll talk more a bit about that later. Over on this side you have your solo knob or solo button and your mute button. If everybody's playing all together, you want to hear a certain instrument or something a little more, see if maybe it's coming through, you'd hit the solo button. You'd select your channel. Let's say I want to hear if my guitar is coming through, you'd select your guitar and hit solo, and that's all you would hear in your ears at that point. To turn it off, you just hit it again. So press it, the little light, solo light comes on, press it again, the light goes off. Next to the solo button is the mute button. It's not a lot of opportunity to use the mute button. Not really a lot of reason why you'd want to do that. Let's say you want to mute one of the singers. Hit the singer that you want to mute, the mic you want to mute, hit the mute button. The little yellow light comes on underneath the channel here. Press it again, it goes off. So if you want to mute it, hit that button, light comes on, that's muted, that's off. Over here you have the save and recall functions. We'll talk about that in just a second. A very useful kind of tool and trick for using the Aviom. If you want to set everything to 0, like start fresh with everything, you can hit the recall button and the mute button at the same time. That zeroes all the channels all the way to 0. You can see going across there's no volume on any of these channels, and it sets all the pans directly in the center. If you want a fresh start with your mix, you hit recall and mute at the same time. That zeroes everything out. Typically when you come to rehearsal or come to service, the settings of the last person to use it will still be saved unless the power gets turned off. If it hasn't been saved, everything will typically not be exactly like you want it to be or how you left it. What we usually do is just start from wherever it is and then go through our sound check and mix things from there. But if you want to reset everything, recall and mute, and that resets everything. So typically how we'll do it at Evangel here is we'll come to rehearsal, get all set up, get everything ready to go, and then we'll begin our sound check with drums. The drums will play and you can adjust that however you want, whatever feels comfortable for you. The bass next, typically, then the guitars will go, the keys will go, acoustic guitar will go, and then the vocalists will sing and you'll adjust those. Kind of one of the keys for getting a good mix, especially for singers, is to make sure you have more than just yourself. Of course you want to hear yourself. Let's say you're on mic B, you want to hear yourself good and loud, but a mistake a lot of vocalists make will be to turn themselves up really loud and leave all the rest of everything else really low, which that doesn't give you a very good reference for if you're singing in tune or out of tune. So typically, you want to have a good foundation in the bass guitar. You need some rhythm in the drums, keys or acoustic guitar, something else to kind of provide reference for you, and then a mix of all the rest of your other singers. If you're singing the same part as somebody else, you want to hear them. and just whatever else is comfortable for you. A mistake a lot of singers will make too is they'll take the click track and turn it all the way off, which you don't want to do that. You want to have some click track in there so you can tell, if you're in time or out of time, or if you're leading a song, starting a song. You want to be able to be sure of what the tempo is there. And you don't need everything like really really loud, you know what I mean? Like you don't need everything turned up super loud, but you do need to have enough of everything else in there that you have some kind of reference for your pitch. Another useful function is the pan knob. Typically for what we do at Evangel, we have two electric guitars. Sometimes there's more than one acoustic guitar. Singers, there's multiple singers. What I'll typically do with electric guitars is pan my electric guitars hard right and hard left, which means all the way to the right or all the way to the left. That creates a little separation in the guitars. If they were both right in the center, that would get kind of muddy and muddled up. What you're doing is you're taking and sending, the electric guitar to one side of your headphones and the other electric guitar to the other side. So that kind of cleans up your mix. Singers, typically what I like to do with singers is pan them to how they're positioned on the stage. So I'll usually leave myself in the center and then pan, if mic B is to my left, I'll pan that to the left. Mic C, same. D, if it's to the right, I'll pan it to the right, and E to the right, and kind of clean it up that way. I like a lot of bass, I like a lot of drums, and a lot of electric guitar in my headphones. Also, you need the piano vocal is typically the talkback mic. The music director will be giving the band and singers signals, where to go next in the arrangement, what the chords are if we need help there, that type of thing. And then the track right now is on channel 16 all the way over here, which I like to have good and loud too. So yeah, I mean, it's really important to spend a lot of time getting your mix right. It's what you hear when you're leading worship, and that can really make or break the experience for you as a worship leader, as a worship singer, a worship musician. If your mix is bad, you're going to kind of have a kind of attitude like, oh man, that wasn't very good. Well, really, maybe you just need to spend some more time getting your monitor mix where you want it to be, turning up what you need to turn up, turning down what you need to turn down, and really experiment with the panning left and right to kind of separate those things out in your own mix. Another mistake a lot of people make, especially singers, is they'll leave one of their ears, one of their headphones in one side and take the other side out. We really want to discourage you from doing that. It damages, in the long run, it'll damage your hearing because whether you think so or not, you'll kind of adjust the volume to compensate for not being able to hear both sides. So leave both sides in. On mix 12, channel 16 over here, we have a crowd mic that if you turn up mix 12, you'll hear some of the room sound, which is really helpful. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is saving and recalling your mix. So to save your mix, let's say you went through your rehearsal and you've got a good mix on Wednesday, and then you want to save it for Sunday. You hit save, you hit recall. You hit both of these buttons here. See, there's the save above these buttons, and it goes out to these two buttons. You hit them both, and then you select a mix. Let's just say 8 for this example. It kind of blinked there to tell you that it was saved. So that saved your mix, all of these channels, into number 8 here. The trick then, of course, is remembering that you saved it to number 8. So when you come back on Sunday, you can hit recall and then hit number 8. And that pulls everything back to where you set it and saved it. So that's a good practice to start to get into, is to save your mix after rehearsal and then recall it before the service or before your next rehearsal. Again, to save, you hit both of these buttons at the same time, press and hold them, and then select one of these channels all the way across. Remember which one you picked. When you come back, you hit recall, you hit that same button, and it recalls everything. Okay, so that's basically how you operate the Avioms. Very powerful tool. Again, you want to spend a lot of time on your mix, make sure it's right, and then yeah, experiment with the panning, experiment with the stereo placement of your channels. That's what panning is, and yeah, it should be good. And that's how it works.